Rick Ladd.
All right, everybody, it's 7
That's not
o'clock.
what I have to say about Rick Ladd.
I'm going to call to order the
I wish
meeting
you'd go
of
back to
the,
Homer, Alaska is what I thought.
so we're going to get going with the zoning board of adjustments on Tuesday, January 13th at 7 p.m. Welcome, everybody, members of the public as well as the board. Nice to see everybody. Happy New Year. We have some time on the back end today. I'm going to actually move the rules of procedure to after the two cases, so we don't have to keep the public waiting too long. We'll do it then. And maybe we'll also take a little bit of time just to chat about, I want everybody to think about how last year went. And we don't have to have a full discussion tonight, but at some point I'd like to have a discussion about, so how did last year go, and what do we think we did well? What do we think we can do better? But we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But for tonight, we have two cases, and I'm going to ask Mr. Taylor to please go ahead and call the first case.
All right. This is land use case Z26-01-01. Lauren O'Neill is seeking variances from Enfield zoning ordinance, Article 4, Section 401, Lot 2, Paragraph M, to construct a new home within 50 feet of Crystal Lake, and also from Section 413 to allow a replacement building to be constructed higher than the currently grandfathered non-conforming original structure's height. Building and lot in question are located at 117 Algonquin Road, tax map 43, lot 3. Property is currently owned by Roger C. Duhane. It's located in the R3 residential zoning district and is 0.292 acres in size.
Great, thank you. I am in a butter to this particular property, so I'm going to recuse myself, and I'm going to ask our Vice Chair, Bill Finger, to assume the role as Chair.
Thanks, Adam. Okay. In order to,
Lauren O'Neill is right here, so one of you will come up and sit right up here.
yeah,
Thank you.
in order to hear this case, we need to elevate one of the alternates. Do we have a volunteer?
Celia, would you like to volunteer?
Okay.
Am I the only one?
Either you or me.
Oh, you're not, I thought you were a member. Oh, you
And
can.
Kyle's here. Or Kyle, so.
Celia, you live on, you have real concerns about Crystal Lake though, don't you? Yeah, I know, but,
Well, you were here first.
we got enough people.
She did raise her hand.
I can make comments at the public part.
I make a motion to elevate Celia O'Farrell to the board for this proceedings.
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay.
Your seat.
Okay, would you like to present your case to the board?
Sure. So my name is Lauren O'Neill. I am the future stepdaughter to Roger Duhane. I just got engaged. So
Congratulations.
thank you. So when the requirements for everybody to get septics for everybody on the lake, that kind of threw Roger into a tizzy. He's getting a little older and he's having a harder time taking care of the camp and all that stuff. So we all decided that we'd like to still keep it in the family. So I did a purchase and sales that's pending for this property. Doing so, I know that there's a lot of restrictions, and I've been working with Rob on the requirements for this meeting. What we're trying to do is make the camp a little more modern, using the same exact footprint for the house, just having a second floor, still staying below the 35 feet requirement. We're going to put a regular half foundation underneath it instead of the sonotubes. The only other thing that I was trying to do, which was actually a recommendation from DES, they actually said make the deck bigger. And I was like, well, I know, I know, he said according to his measurements, I could go a lot bigger. So I did put that in. If that's a deal breaker for this meeting, I can scale back. But as the people get older, we wanted to have a deck where they could sit out there, and my brother is disabled and we need a place for a wheelchair to go out. So that's one of my biggest concerns. We want to make this a family camp. And I've already got quotes for the septic and the well. I had the well put on the septic design. That was looked at by everybody and approved. I had the designs done to make it more livable. And it would be more in line with the other 2 stories that are along the road. I mean, most of the properties that are on that are 2 stories or much larger homes than what I'm going to, well, what I would like to build. But you know, it's just that it was becoming too much for Roger to deal with. We're not going to cut down any trees. You know, we're not going to encroach on on anybody else's property. From my understanding, there's not anybody that would be impacted by the second level in regards to a view, because we don't want to restrict that. But like I said, most of the other properties that are on that road are already 2 stories, except for there's maybe 1 or 2 still old camps that are on there. So that's my goal, is to stay on this, same footprint and just try to make it better for somebody, that we can maybe even use it year round. And that's it.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant?
Oh, I drove out there 2 days ago where they're doing, I think it's septic work across the street. And there's a kid out there about this high directing traffic, telling me that I could drive past and get up there.
Yeah.
You really can't see it from the road. There is a
camp, no.
garage on the property,
There's already a garage
There's a
there,
garage
small,
probably.
1 car.
but my only concern is how close it is to the water, because one of our concerns is keeping our lakes clean and so forth.
Yep.
We've read all of
Yeah,
that.
and I do understand that. I mean, I was on the conservation committee for Northwood, New Hampshire for like 15, 20 years, so I understand where you're coming from. We're trying to do minimal impact, but the lot itself is
It's weird.
it would be hard to move it around and still meet all of the setbacks. That's why staying on the same footprint would be best for everybody involved.
Well, and it's snow covered. It's hard to see
Yeah,
because I just drive by. I don't get out and walk around.
yeah. But I've been working with Roger. I tried to help him so that he could do the septic and all that stuff, and it just became too much for him, and he just got flustered and said, no.
It doesn't have a septic at this point?
No, it don't. No,
A straight pipe into the lake?
no, they had a small tank that they pumped out every year, but they only use it 2 weeks out of the year. There's only 2 people, except for the 2 or 3 times that we'd have like a party for a day. Other than that, it's not used. It's not used in the winter. And putting in the well will stop drawing the water from the lake and make it drinkable.
Yeah.
It's a safety concern, so I tried to work with the well company and the septic people and DES and to make sure that everybody was happy where everything is placed.
Rob, how far does a well have to be from a septic at this point?
75
It is still 75?
Yeah.
They do make
Can you do
exceptions
that?
for specific properties. I just want to say for you guys, I put it up on the map and I've shared it with the teams meeting. This is the lot in question, right here,
Yep.
117 Algonquin Road. You guys may be familiar with some of these properties, Rollins Point, right
Yep.
here. Obviously, that direction is out towards Crystal Lake Road. Algonquin continues on here into a dead end.
Is that lot, it looks like, that's an actual lot, it's not attached to any of the other, because there's no really line there.
Oh, This
To show
yellow,
the lot.
this yellow boundary right here, this is it right here.
Yeah.
So you were referencing a garage, right? That's the garage right
Yeah,
here.
that's the
Yeah,
little,
that's what we do.
And that's the current camp.
Right. So they have a thing with wells that you can have them sealed so that you could technically have it right next to a septic and still have safe water, because it would only draw from the very bottom at 150 to 200 feet. And that's what the plan is for this. That way we don't get any contamination drawn in from being near the lake. So that's what the well company has recommended, and that's what I've signed on for.
So sealing the well keeps out the lake water.
And
No,
any,
and
and any contaminants.
and the refuse water.
Yeah.
The refuse water.
Yeah.
Well,
So what it is,
Is that a, what's the word I want? I knew about the 75 feet, because that's been years and years and years, and when we put in our house in Haverhill 40 years ago, the septic had to be 75 feet
right,
from the well.
yeah.
But there's an exception that you can have by sealing the well?
It would make it safer. Basically, you have each section of pipe, and they seal each section all the way down, so it only draws from the bottom and not from inside. That's what they
Yeah,
say.
well, I just learned something.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. I've added a couple wells at a couple of my properties before, and that's usually what I do.
When I was reviewing the application, I had the same concern as Susan, just as far as the proximity to the lake. But when I reviewed, I looked at Google Maps. I didn't go out to the property itself, but I did view on Google Maps that many other properties look like they're similarly positioned within that 35 feet of the water line.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to hear that you're flexible on the deck, because it really seemed like the deck was the thing that was gonna be close to the water line, correct?
Yeah.
But I certainly understand your family reason for wanting a bigger deck, because it looks like from the pictures, what you have there, nobody can spend any time on.
Yeah, so the deck would be about the size of one of these tables that's currently there, and a
Yeah.
wheelchair could not be put in and turned around.
Yeah,
And that was that's my biggest concern, because,
okay. And Rob, you said that the property is .92292 acres?
Yep.
Okay, and so I did notice that the statute that is being referenced talks about that the minimum lot size should be an acre. Is this, that's
So this is actually in the
independent?
R3, minimum lot size is 3 acres.
Okay,
But it's
This-
a grant, they're staying within the
Yeah,
footprint.
it's
Okay.
pre-existing to zoning, so it's considered legal,
got
That's
it.
the
but it's a
Okay.
non-conforming lot, meaning it
Got it.
doesn't meet
It
current
doesn't have
zoning.
to
Okay,
now.
okay.
Will be.
Not uncommon.
Not uncommon.
yeah. So that's why we wanted to stay on the same footprint,
Yeah.
then move it around and have to,
But I mean, there's no existing foundation now, so.
no, but the property itself has very large boulders everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So moving it to different locations is.
Would be expensive.
It would be extremely expensive, and I did not want to get into any type of blasting that close to the lake, to try to move big boulders.
well, I mean, blasting, yeah, would be disruptive briefly.
Yeah, and I'm not asking for a full foundation, because I know that would get into a very expensive dredging and stuff like that, and so I'm just asking for living space to be up instead of down, like in a basement area.
You said that the deck size was a table this size, is it like 3 feet, or is it the
It's
whole?
8 by 20 in the plan.
The
8 by
the
20.
existing
The
deck.
existing is 5 by 5,
Yeah,
literally.
it's very small.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
a
Do you
platform.
have anything in writing from DES about saying it was okay to make it bigger?
Well, I got my approval today, and he sent me an email so that I could bring it to the meeting,
Okay.
but the
The approval is for
the
the 8 by
formal.
20, that's inclusive of that, is what
It
I
is
was saying.
inclusive of
Yeah,
that,
okay.
yeah.
It's,
But the
by
certification
20 deck?
wasn't typed up before
Yeah,
4
so
o'clock
it's
today.
currently a 5.
But I got
by
the email saying
and
that it
this
was
would be 8
approved.
by 20, and
Okay,
DES
that's, so
is
that size
approving it.
deck was.
That
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 didn't-
includes
what you
everything on the
submitted.
plans
Okay.
and the
put that
deck.
in here.
I just have one sort of relevant question, because I heard you discuss that the deck was going to be, you know, larger in parts to make it more accessible for someone who's
Handicap,
disabled.
Yeah, yeah.
Is, with the new construction, are you planning to try and make the whole house sort of, except, obviously it's 2 floors, so it'd probably be on the ground floor, but like door openings, and I'm just guessing the inside of this camp isn't really accessible.
It
all
will
the-
be.
It will be, the new one, but the
Yes.
current one, my guess is.
The current one is not, because there's too many stairs.
Yeah.
We're moving the stairs from the side of the house to the back, facing the road, so that we can have a larger door. And we have a small bedroom on the first floor, and we fixed it so there would be a bath on the first floor, and making the rooms the wider,
Okay.
the hallway wider. And that's why we had to go up for the second,
Yeah.
because then it would turn into a 1-bedroom camp.
And what's the height of the prospective new, I don't wanna, I'm gonna call it house instead of camp.
Yeah.
House.
It would be under, it would definitely be under the 35 feet.
Okay.
I think it was like 26 or something like that. I had it on my
Yeah,
plans.
I think I just
It's
forgot.
26.2 is on this.
Perfect.
Right,
That-
yeah,
that's-
because I'm only gonna have like a 4-foot
We
foundation.
have some history in that area with regard to views being impacted and
Yeah.
things. So I just ask because I'm sure it's a point of interest for people. So thank you.
Yeah,
You really can't see the camp from the road.
Great.
yeah, I know you can't.
Because the road's up higher and it's way
Right.
down, which was what prompted my concern about being so close to the lake.
Right. And, you know, like the neighbors, Bill and Lori, they're here. Their house is much higher and up on the hill, so that second floor wouldn't impact them at all. And the people on the other side, their house is more on the point, which is past where where the front of our beach access would be. So, I don't know if there's anybody on the back side, like the 38A. I don't know, if there's not a house on that, is there?
Doesn't seem to be.
Yeah.
Give it time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so we're really just trying to keep it in the family before,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
as people get older, it gets harder.
In order to save the frontage on a lake, have you ever thought of putting the deck on the side of the house? So, because then you'll be the same distance
Isn't that the
to the
deck?
house.
Well, the
Because
only.
you still have a view of the lake and,
Yeah, yeah. The only reason that we didn't was because when my architect was looking at it, they said I'd probably have a better and easier time because it's already on the front. So we were almost staying in the same footprint, than putting it on the side. And it's a very narrow lot. So it would really scrunch up any living or fun area to like a pathway at that point.
okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything preventing the house from moving closer towards the garage to get more space from the lake?
Major rocks. Manger. They're,
Big rocks.
yeah. Yeah, and,
So a lot, it sounds like there'd be a lot more site work just
a lot more.
on its face. A lot more disturbing the soil, the rock,
Yeah.
and all that.
And the cost was about $40,000
Wow.
to go in there.
Flat.
That's why we wanted to stay on the same footprint.
Yeah.
The lot that goes out there that has a 2 on it, there's like, maybe it's just the snow, but it looked like there was like a cliff.
That's Lori and Bill's garden.
Oh, okay. That the lot that your house is on is lower than the sky, than that lot next to it, that there was a,
Well, their yard is level with mine.
It is.
Or- Yeah, it's very, because we, you know, the kids just running back and forth, cross lots and go, you know, go fishing off everybody's docks, whatever, and, you know, Bill and Lori, they access their front lot by coming through my my proposed driveway, because it's easier for them to come in through there, instead of coming downhill. So, I mean, it's a very family-oriented little area. It really is. So, was there a question in there that I didn't answer?
no, I was just thinking about seeing in my head, go down there in the winter where they were digging and then this kid directed me past, and then you gotta go this way, and then you gotta go up the hill and around. I had to go a few houses further in before I could find a place to turn around.
Oh, yeah, we don't plow the driveway, because in the winter time,
No, I wouldn't.
Roger never used it in the winter, because it's not set up for winter,
No,
which is a shame.
because
Yeah. There shouldn't have been, well, you didn't see anybody on the property, did you?
no, I didn't see anybody, and I wouldn't have gone on the property anyway, but I need to see in 3 dimensions, so when something comes, I drive past.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a couple lots from the public dock, boat launch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Any other questions from the board? All right, this time I'd like to open it up to questions or comments from the public. Yes, just please state your name for the record and address.
Jason Carter, brief comment. Rob, you mentioned that this was 2 variances. It's actually a special exception for the height and a variance for the depth. Non-conforming lots require a special exception for height change.
So, this is a grandfathered pre-existing, and so to actually go up, because we wrote it in the 2019 amendment, that the grandfathering is 3-dimensional.
Right.
So to be able to get a higher height on a grandfathered non-conforming as a variance.
I just read it today. It's a special exception. You have it written in the town newsletter as well, special exception, which is a lower bar, so it should have an easier time getting it.
Seeking variances, plural, right on my agenda here.
I was reading it yesterday.
413 is the non-conforming section.
Yeah.
It's an existing non-conforming lot. Building that it sits on, the area in question is an existing non-conforming. I think you're right, it requires the area variance.
When was the house built that's there?
Excuse me?
When was the house built that was there? Does it?
It's been, I don't know.
So it pre-exists zoning and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just a shell of a camp at this point. It doesn't really even have insulation or, panel. It's very much a shell.
Approved by the zoning board of adjustment. 413.3.
But we're not trying to make a monstrosity. Most of the houses, like I said, on that road are already two stories. So it would be, in line with everybody else that's out there.
It looks like some of your neighbors are here. Do they want to speak?
Right here, sorry. I can quote you guys this line right here from zoning ordinance. It's in the section 413 non-conforming
Yeah.
lots and use. It says any expansion of a non-conforming use may be permitted only if approved by the zoning board of adjustment as a variance. And here's where it says that dimensions include, this is the replacement buildings. Structures must be in the same location, the same or less dimensions as the before, and the dimensions include length, width, height.
Yeah.
That was added in 2019. It used to just be length and width. What we were finding was people were going up with these very awkward, small footprint. They ended up looking more like a tower than a house.
So without a variance, you can replace the existing building as long as you have the same dimensions of the replacement structure.
Yep.
Yes, but that really wouldn't solve a lot of the modern problems that are going on. It's families are getting bigger. And, I really do need the variance for the second floor.
Just a guys.
I'm Bill Griffin, I live next door. I've known Roger since we moved in. I've met Lauren over probably the last 2 years at get-togethers at 4th of July and whatnot.
It's four now.
Is it?
Yeah.
So the difference is, I've talked to Roger about the property, and one of the reasons he's never done anything is the reasons of the setbacks. They're not on the lakefront. I think, Rob, I gave you a picture. Yeah, it's on that flash drive. The waterfront is actually only 25 feet from there. So they use GIS maps to come up with their measurements. But with tree cover, you really don't see it. So the water line comes up gradually as a small beach. As you can see, it comes up into there. So right about there where that's cleared up, just over from this tape measure, is the 25-foot mark. That is the high water mark. When it rains, it's so shallow it comes up to 22, 23 feet away from the structure. So that's a 25-foot tape measure, and it goes right to the edge of it. So that's one thing. So it's half in the setback of the shoreline setbacks. On the side of the property, if I don't have anything showing that, but if you go back and look at the map picture Rob had up before, if you go to the back of the camp, it's about 15 feet right there from there to, I believe that's Spencer's property.
Mercy Spencer.
The house runs at not an even parallel. It actually runs closer to the property line. So from the back, it's 15 feet. As you go closer to the lake, it gets narrower. So it's already 5 feet at the back end within the 20-foot setback. So as it gets closer, it narrows. And then you put an 8-foot deck on off the corner, it's going to extend it more into their property line. And that, going up is just going to tower more over into her property. It's not like there's the proper setbacks for all that.
Where is her house on the property?
So we have two properties. I'm Sarah Bursky with 119 and 121. So 119 is the Peninsula property and 121 is the Lot 5 that you see there. We have two houses. The the small older camp is on the end of that peninsula, lot number 4. And then the four-season house that we have on the tax map 5, the 121 property, is basically a little bit forward, if I can approach the screen. It's roughly right about here.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is not shown on this map, and I don't understand that, but there's a house right here, which is ours, and then there's a house out here, which is ours. And what Roger's talking about is that the side yard setbacks are presently are non-conforming, and that the corner of the existing 117 camp at this side is inside the 20-foot setback. And as you extend the deck out, it gets even worse. Actually, I think it's here that it's 5 feet in, and as you move forwards, it gets worse. So obviously Roger's speaking now, and I can address that, but his point is correct that as the deck goes out, it creates a greater encroachment on the side yard setback that protects our property, our vegetation, our trees, etc., from the encroachment. Effectively, you're making a non-conforming situation worse by allowing the deck to go further forward at this particular corner, which is why it was an interesting question that someone brought up. Why not just put it over here, where you're not then making this non-conforming situation even worse on this side yard setback?
So the deck doesn't go all the way to the corner of the house on the right, it only goes about 3/4 of the way?
So I looked at your drawings and I didn't see that in the drawings. What I saw was it coming straight out. You're definitely not avoiding this setback with the construction of that deck. You've not diverted it away and out of the setback in your construction. You're going straight out with it. So you're just continuing with this line of building that is already encroaching on this side yard setback. And so that is what I would strongly oppose as your neighbor. I don't want that because it
I
makes
think
it
we should
difficult
be
for us
directing
to also.
comments to the board and not each
So if you
other.
look at this drawing on the back
Yeah.
side too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could easily move it over to this corner and shave off about 4 or 5 feet and put the stairs out a little further.
This is the drawing
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't think it's proper to construct
in this drawing.
inside the side yard setback when we know that that's not allowed. It's one thing if the existing building is there. That was obviously before zoning, but it's already encroaching into the side yard setback, and the new construction makes that situation worse. And so I would object to that publicly. I don't think that that is right. It's one thing to correct a non-conforming situation or to exist within a non-conforming situation, but you shouldn't be making it worse, especially not for the abutting neighbor.
In 413.2, it states that even though a lot where the use is located does not comply with minimum lot size or frontage requirements, the use may be continued provided of the standards of the district in which it is located is met. All other standards must be met. So the setback standards are not met on the side or on the lake side. It's half in the lake, the waterfront setback. And it's approaching half on her property. So it doesn't meet the criteria for 413.2. As far as moving the camp, I've been under that camp. I've mowed that lawn over there for almost 4 years now, helping Roger out. I also dug up the septic for him for the inspection. That was the first time it's ever been dug up, he said, since he's been there. It's never been pumped. It's never had to because it leaks. So that's why we're going with the approach. That's why they knew they had to get a new septic put in. But it's never been pumped out. As far as underneath the structure, the same rocks that are behind it are all underneath. That whole thing is on rocks. The whole structure is. Really, there's nothing she can't do with that structure that she can't do without going up. The deck would be smaller, but she can do basically the same thing. She can get a septic, she can get a well, she can still have the 2-bedroom inside, and meet a lot of ADA compliances, because I've looked at doing that myself with that property. I looked at putting someone mentioned the deck down the side, and then tying into the one on the front to make, and with a ramp there to make the whole thing wheelchair accessible. On the drawing, I didn't see anything that made it wheelchair accessible. They actually drew steps in by hand everywhere on it.
So so to address the deck issue, we could make it half the width, which would be, how far is it from her property, Rob? It's at least 15 feet, because I had that. So reduce it by 5 feet on the width, that'll make the 20 feet setback. I'm not opposed to that.
That's on the,
Shirley's got her hand up, Bill.
Oh, hey Shirley.
I'd like to say that
Please state your name and address for the.
Shirley Green, 69 Algonquin.
Thank you.
I'm speaking as an individual, not on behalf of another board or commission. But I'd just like to say that I encourage the zoning board to very carefully consider waiver request. The regulations are in place to protect our water bodies. Granting waiver requests defeats that purpose. Our water bodies are very important to Enfield, both economically and recreationally, and I like to see them still be protected.
Thank you.
Hi.
Dan?
Dan Regan, Lock Haven Road. I too am speaking only as an individual. We have some modern problems with our lakes. Our lakes are under attack across the state, and we have had serious issues at most of the lakes in New Hampshire, including Crystal Lake 2 years ago, where we had a cyanobacteria outbreak. If you're not familiar with cyanobacteria, it's caused by a number of different things, including septic systems that aren't working, people building inside the protected area of the lakeshore, and things coming in from streams around the waterfront. I have in my hand the Department of Environmental Services Environmental Fact Sheet SP-5. There's a couple of interesting things they say, we'll pass this around. It says nature's most economical and efficient water purification system is a combination of native shoreland plants. To protect water quality and water life habits, the Shoreland Water Quality Protection Act regulates the removal of ground cover shrubs and trees within 150 feet of public waters. This distance is measured from the reference line. Within the 150 feet of reference line, there are two regions, the waterfront buffer, which is between 50 feet and 150 feet, and the woodland buffer, and that's the first 50 feet. It goes on to say, within the 50 feet of the reference line, ground cover and shrubs may not be removed and replaced with landscaping or lawn. They may only be removed to provide a single 6-foot wide footpath to the water or to structures in the waterfront buffer. Ground cover and shrubs may only be trimmed to a height of no less than 3 feet. The idea that we would allow somebody to move from 25 or 30 feet of the lakeshore closer goes against every principle when it comes to our lakes and lake quality. This is not only a matter of swimming, this is an economic issue. It's an economic issue because if we get more cyanobacteria in lakes, there are studies that show that the property values around the lakes drop. So you might say, well, that's too bad for people that live around lakes, but that's too bad for everybody that lives in the town, because as our property values drop around the lake, our budget does not drop. We still need the same $10 million to run the town. So the property values have dropped around the lake, so they're going to get less. That means the people living in town are going to be paying more. So this is an economic issue for all of us. I would like to compliment Ms. O'Neill for coming in. She does not even own this property, but yet she's here trying to see, are there ways that I could build on this property? I wish everybody would do that. I am here to say that this project is not in the public interest, and it's not within the spirit of the ordinance. 401(2) says, and I quote, "No structure shall be placed, located, or constructed within 50 feet of the seasonal high water line of any river, stream, lake, or public pond or wetland." I think that's pretty clear. And 413, section 4 says, this, I won't read it all, but the dimensions include length, width, height, and original structure. So I think it's pretty clear, there was a conscious decision of the voters of the town of Enfield to say that you can't just do anything in a non-conforming lot, you have to stay within the parameters. That was the decision, and it's multiplied when you're around the lake. I would say that substantial justice is done for the people of Enfield by denying this variance request. I would also add that the values around the lake could be diminished if we allow this type of construction. And from a personal point of view, Rob, if you could buzz out a little bit. So I am the lot directly across the street. If I can approach 38A. So when I purchased this lot, one of the reasons I purchased this lot is it's vacant now, but if you put a house right here, it has a beautiful view of the lake and of Oliver Island. When I purchased the land, the value that I paid for that assumed that I had that view. If you now, and I knew that you couldn't increase the height of that building, that was one of the things we considered and we looked at. If you now increase the height of that building, I have now lost my view, and that is not something that we want to do. And lastly, the literature associated with the degradation of lakes is pretty thick. This is from the Lake Centipede Protective Association, and it lists just some of the things that talk about our lakes and the fact that they are under threat, and we need to take any building on lakes seriously and enforce all of our regulations. So thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Chair, I think there was somebody online that had something. It might have been Mr. Bartels, but his hand is down now.
Does anyone on Teams have any questions or comments to make? I'm sorry, you're not coming through very clearly.
This is Audrey Hartman at Crystal Lake Road.
Okay, Audrey, please continue.
Because of the proximity to the lake, is it possible for us to consider making a requirement that it pass Lake Smart within 1 year of completion?
What is Lake Smart?
Lake Smart is a actually Dan could give you a better description of it, but or Shirley, but what they do is they assess the property and its water drainage and its impact on the lake, and so they make suggestions to homeowners. For example, you know, that your downspouts are just running right into the lake. Maybe you need a little rain garden here, or that your driveways or your pathways should be permeable to allow the water to seep into the land instead of just being washed out into the lake. And it is a way for your architect and your landscape designer and your contractor to think about that ahead of time and how they construct your project, so that to help protect the lake in the years to come, you know, after this variance has been applied, but yet the impact, you know, will go on for decades.
Thank you. Shirley, I saw her hand first.
I'm
That
going to speak.
Just a second, give me a second.
Could we?
Hi, Dan Beckley, 129 Algonquin.
Yes, Daniel.
I'd echo the observations of some of my neighbors, Bill Griffin and Ms. Mursky. One thing is, look at the proposal, and anybody could appreciate an effort that was made to stay on the existing footprint. However, looks like it's going from a height of, I don't know, 11 or 12 feet to almost twice that. I think the height is going to be a significant issue as well. And I think it affects the natural setting as you're on the lake, from just about any point on it. I too am concerned with the problem we had a few years ago with cyanobacteria and increasing the usage of places directly on the lake. From what I understand of 117, it's almost on the lake itself, which always increases the risk of runoff and anything else that could adversely affect Crystal Lake.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm sorry. Now, Shirley?
I was just gonna say, a lake smart inspection after the fact would be appropriate.
Sarah?
Yes, thank you. So I did prepare something that I wanted to read, a few points. I jumped up there to clarify the side lot setback issue, but I did want to mention a few other things. So as we said before, we own property at 119 and 121 Algonquin, and we've been there since 1978. We are concerned about the impact of the project on the lake and the two properties that we have adjacent to this development, proposed new development. And while we would like to be cooperative as neighbors, we cannot support anything that negatively impacts the value or use of our property or threatens the quality of the lake. We talked about the 117 deck as presented in the variance application. I believe that would further encroach into the side yard setback between our two properties, which is worsening an existing condition that is today non-conforming. Additionally, I believe that in this regard, the variance application is contrary to the public interest and also does not meet the variance criteria for substantial justice, nor the variance criteria for the value of surrounding properties not to be diminished. In this case, I believe that we are impacted directly at 119 in that regard. Secondly, I just wanted to mention that the seasonal dock at 117 is presently also not in compliance with local nor state law. It should be located 20 or 25, depending upon state or local, feet from the property line. Today, it is actually on the property line with 119. We mention it not because it's part of the variance, but because the location of the proposed larger deck by 117 Algonquin should show a new legally compliant dock in the variance application, since the location of the legal dock may actually impact the feasible depth of the proposed new deck construction. In other words, when that legal dock actually goes in the water, it may impact not only the depth of your proposed new deck, but also the location of it. Next, we are also concerned that the higher new construction inside the setback on the side lot line may impact the mature trees of our 119 Algonquin property. Since the existing building is already in the side yard setback between us, which is a side yard setback that's intended to protect adjacent structures, vegetation, root systems, and the canopy of adjacent mature trees, which we do have a lot of on that particular site. In this case, that protection has already been compromised and will only worsen with a taller building and new construction activity. We were recently awarded the Lake Smart Award for both 119 and 121 Algonquin, and the erosion control and buffer zone we have created at our properties with our tree and landscape was one of the reasons for the award. We would like to keep those trees. Again, substantial justice would not be done if our property and its value is diminished. Next, we think that additional height will also bring unwelcome light pollution, noise, and a lack of privacy to both of our abutting properties at both 119 and 121 Algonquin Road. The front of the existing 117 building is inside the waterfront setback, as we've talked about, by approximately a third of the building, which places the building situationally in the middle of our adjacent lot. So effectively, when that building gets constructed, you will walk out of the house at 121 and you will literally see a building that will feel like it's right in our actual lot, which is going to be, in my opinion, it's going to change the setting of our lot, our property, and our privacy. In this case, we do not believe that, we think that that will diminish the quality of our property. Lastly, we do not think that the variance meets hardship, and this is always the most difficult criteria to meet. And while we understand the desire to maintain the existing location of the old camp, it is feasible for 117 to construct a new taller building in compliance with local zoning closer to the roadside without being so disruptive to its adjacent neighbors. The application mentions boulders as a primary reason for concern, and as a local expert in lake boulder removal, they should be worried. It is not a reason for a variance, however, nor a reason for hardship. I welcome anyone to take a walk to 121 Algonquin, and you will see what we pulled out for our renovation in 2011. The boulders are there. When we had to use a diamond saw, we had to use a giant excavator. It was a real pain in the backside and a very unwelcome expense. However, it is also part of the expense of building in New Hampshire alongside any glacial lake. It's just par for the course. It's a horrible thing you have to deal with, but it is possible, and in my mind, it does not justify hardship. Anyhow, I'm sorry we can't be more supportive. We want to be a good neighbor to you, but the project as proposed generates too many real concerns for us and their impact on our two properties and on the lake. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Sarah.
I'm concerned about the recording for the secretary. Maybe we should ask her to give that piece of paper.
Yes, I'd be happy to submit this letter.
Yeah, Rob has the letter.
Yeah. This is actually a second letter, but I'm happy to submit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, if we could, if just whatever you just said,
Yeah.
if you make sure Rob has that,
Okay.
it just makes it easier for who's writing our minutes.
Bill?
Bill Griffin, Algonquin Road again, 113. I would just like to say, I don't want to create a hardship for them. She hasn't even bought the property yet. They've been great neighbors. I just don't see this project as being good for the neighborhood, the cove. And this is something I've discussed with Roger, who owns it, several times, and he has always had the same stance, that changing this would impact the lake, the whole cove, and the properties. And that's one of the reasons he said he's never done anything with it. He's had all that time. He doesn't necessarily lack for money. He's just never done it because they never spent enough time up there. But he also always said he never saw it being a good thing for that area.
Okay. All right. One more, Dan?
Just two final questions. Number one, or comments. The variance goes with the property. All of these changes could be made and the property could be sold 2 months later. So I worry about that. Number two is, in my opinion, there currently is no hardship in this case. These renovations are just something the applicant wants to do. They're not something that needs to be done. They will not suffer any harm if this ordinance is upheld. And the applicant is free to purchase any property anywhere and build what they want. But this particular lot does not, in my opinion, allow for what they would like to do. And I will submit my notes to Mr. Taylor as well.
Okay, if there's no further public comment, I'd like to close the public discussion and discuss this at the board level.
Could I make some comments regarding?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So, I'd like to address a few of the setback issues. The property itself is already grandfathered, right? The location.
Within
Yeah,
the bounds of
the
the law.
footprint, right,
The existing footprint, which you're hoping to expand,
okay.
which negates the grandfathering for all intents and purposes.
Okay, but the deck, according to, for the lady who owns on the right, we can shrink it, instead of 20 feet wide, we can do 10, and still be able to have a wheelchair move and circle around in that area. And that way, it wouldn't impact her, encroach on her, it would be outside of the 20-foot setback. Okay, so I'd like to try to address that. If the deck becomes the issue, we can leave it exactly the way it is. Which is really sad, because everybody else, if you go out there, has a 2-story building, a good-sized deck that they can enjoy, and, you know, a four-season if they want to. So why can't I to be one? The value of the property, the surrounding properties will not be hurt if I go up one extra story. It's actually going to improve it because you're not going to have a single camp with a non-conforming septic system, you know, still there. Okay, so we're trying to deal with the septic, we're trying to deal with the well, and still stay within the footprint. So the values of the properties, I've been a real estate agent for 30-something years. It will not negatively impact anybody around. To address the person that owns behind me, I don't know how long he's had that property, but he hasn't built anything on it yet. And what's to say he's never going to build on it? You don't know. So to be fair for me, denying me this because he might lose his view for a building he may never build, that's really not fair either. Okay. The trees on, you know, we have no intentions of cutting any trees, disturbing any vegetation. We have no desire to change what the driveway looks like. So it's going to be what it is. We're not going to put any vegetation up. We're just trying to keep, we just need extra space to make it a four-season.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
I have a few findings of fact.
Okay.
Wanted to have in the record. One, that it would be a new compliant septic system is proposed, because we heard testimony that we have a system that's effectively leaching.
Yeah, I don't think they need a variance to put in a compliant septic system.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that's a I think.
The septic has already been approved by the state.
So
Septic has to be done regardless.
Sorry. The public portion has been closed. This is just the board now. Okay. Thank you. I bring these out as just facts. They are not meant to persuade anyone or the other. Yeah. So new septic, new water. That the proposed building would be accessible for the disabled, or more accessible. That the proposed building has minimal site work, and that the proposed building is double the height. Those are all things that I gathered from the proposal as facts. And when I started looking at the criteria, I would say, whether something's contrary to the public interest, in a lot of situations it's subjective. But tonight we have a fair number of people who have come and told us it's not in their interest. And I think that's, my own opinion doesn't matter when I hear the opinion of others who would be directly impacted and say this isn't in their interest. The spirit of the ordinance, I'm going to get to this in that the legislation that or warrant that created the three-dimensional requirement here for the footprint, that was not the case prior to that. It passed for a reason. We had a lot of places, as Mr. Taylor said, that were going up, and that's why the ordinance was added to in 2019. And I don't know the exact numbers, but I remember it passing overwhelmingly. The third piece about substantial justice, do I think justice is done if you build a building that is going to now, have a better septic and all that and be more? Yes, I will agree that I think criteria 3, I could make an argument, is met by some of those environmental factors being improved. I think the value of surrounding properties not being diminished, to me, I heard enough evidence from Mr. Regan to convince me that lot, and if he doesn't want that lot, somebody else is gonna want it, and they're gonna build a house there. It does look right down the mouth, and, you know, it's just a big enough lot, somebody could build a big enough house there too. It's not, it's not out of, to me, that would be worth less. There is a financial hit there. The part that I have here about hardship is just this. I am always going to have a hard time with hardship with dimension going up. And the reason is that if you build a building there right now in the same spot without going up, you don't have to be here. To that end, this is where I will say, because there are viewers on TV and lots of people here in the room tonight, is that, there are things being proposed that would allow this, and I think people deserve to know that if that proposed ordinance change for the height passes at town meeting, this project could go forward, going straight up.
I don't think that's true, Tim.
It's only
It's still a non-conforming use.
It's gonna be under 35 feet.
It's still a non-conforming use.
No, if the height limit is removed from the current ordinance, she could go up in that footprint more than 35 feet. Now, she does not need, as long as she stayed within the current footprint of that house, there's nothing that could stop, she would get a building permit, am I right, Rob?
No. Sorry, no changes proposed for R1, R3, or R5.
Yeah.
So.
Please let's not hijack this meeting or discussion of the new zoning changes. Can we focus on the case at hand, please?
That's not,
It's true.
not from what
Can I make one point?
I do not see a hardship here, and, but I want to be clear that not granting this variance does create somewhat of a hardship in that this property's been used for 2 weeks out of the year forever.
12 years.
I live next door.
So how much time is someone there?
They open that camp up,
How many people, like 3 months?
End of June, and they close it up in October.
Okay, so your usual. All right, never mind that. I don't see a hardship here that you could build a building on that same footprint.
Thank you, Tim. Susan?
They've only owned it for 12 years. It's not like it's been in the family since it was built. It says here, family enjoyed using the camp in the summer since August 2014. I think that it might be reasonable to do some winterizing of the building as it is, and that doesn't involve us. That they could put in insulation, et cetera, and so forth, and they could fix the septic and the well without raising the building so high. My concern remains its closeness to the lake. I find it too close to the lake on too small a lot.
Tiffany, anything to add?
I do not.
Okay.
Can I make a couple comments? Is it too late?
Do you have anything significant to add to the existing discussion?
Well, it's kind of like you're mentioning hardship. So if we can't build on this, it becomes a hardship for Roger because now nobody can, he can't get his money out of it because nobody's going to want to buy this property and have just a shell of a camp. It's 2x4 construction, so having a good R value would be almost impossible. Okay, and the foundation it's just on sonotubes. And what's to say that his hardship is he can't live there year round if he wanted to because it's not reasonable for that. And I'd like to make it reasonable that we can use it year round. It's a beautiful spot. I mean, if we take take out the whole deck issue. I'll leave the deck as is.
Thank you.
And for the height, it's living space. So the hardship is I won't be able to use this as a year-round. Maybe I want to retire here, I can't, because it's 2x4 construction. And Roger can't sell it, and if he tries to sell it, he's gonna run into the same thing, and his value is gonna go down, because they're gonna say, well, why didn't you build on it? And as soon as he says he can't get a variance, his value gets tanked, and it turns into,
Thank you.
a small camp.
And does someone want to make a motion?
Sealy hasn't spoken.
Oh, sorry, Celie, I'm sorry.
I really think it's not in the best interest of the public, and that's what we really have to look at. And that's the lake issues. I also believe that the spirit of the ordinance will be observed if we did not grant the variance. And I was looking at the for substantial justice is done, because the benefit to the applicant should not be outweighed by the harm to the general public.
Right.
And I know that we've had other cases that have gone to court with this kind of issue. And it is, comes back to what is good for the general public and the health of the lake. And that has stood up in court a couple of times. And I think for that reason, we really have to deny the variance.
Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we deny the variance based on the fact that it is not in the public interest of the people, or the zoning ordinance, or the specifics of the zoning ordinance, and does not, I gotta read it, the spirit of the ordinance is not observed.
Anyone second?
I'll second.
Just for clarity, she's asking for 2 variances. Is this for one or the other, or for both?
There are 2.
Where does it say 2 variances?
Yeah, one is for the side setback and one is for the proximity to the water.
One is for ground.
Yep.
And one is for height.
Was that
One's for the
Sarah
deck.
Murphy's setback?
All right, well, let's
That's,
do the setback from the
okay.
water.
Yep.
I think they both should be.
Well, we'll do them one at a time, I think you're saying, so
Okay.
I don't know. Based on the motion, I will second the motion that Sealy made.
Well, should we restate it? With
Yeah,
respect
let's
to
do
the-
this, we'll do that one first, so if you wanna restate your motion.
We deny the variance based on that it is not in the best,
Which
it's
variance?
not in the public interest.
The water variance.
Okay.
Let's call it that.
All right, and you have a second from Tim?
Yeah.
All right, all in favor to deny this variance, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries to deny 5-0. All right, for the second variance, which was to approach the sideline, to request a height on the same footprint.
Was it the height?
Yeah, yes, variance from the.
And make a motion?
I'll make a motion to deny the variance for the height restriction, based on the fact that, it does not, that it is contrary to the public interest. And I will say, that values of surrounding properties would be diminished by it.
Anyone want to second the motion?
I'll Second it.
I want to agree with Tim that I think this does not meet the 5 variance criteria. All right, all in favor to deny the motion to raise the height? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, 5-0. Should we get the next case? Or we're going to do
Take a
rest?
short recess.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind one, because I'm down coming back, maybe everybody needs a little break.
Somebody will say, then the sir, I feel to give it Because I've been on
Take a look at your light.
That, like, that, so if it doesn't, and that's really where I come down, but also.
I can't hear, but everybody misses him, right?
We had a conversation.
I'm just giving it a try anyway.
And that's what I said, I can think about it, but when I hear it.
You don't really have a decision to make, yeah.
That's why I say I just carry it.
Sorry.
But, you know, I think that's the first time
Fingers crossed for you. Just like you did.
It's always is. Research. The last piece that he sent me about the phosphorus level and all that.
It's hard. Just like the mother. Sarah Mirsky, did you know? Paul Mirsky, he's very well. So he's an architect.
I'm Paul Griffin,
So he, everybody in town, he got it everything he did. He did a lot of it.
The strong family resemblance there.
Pardon me?
The strong family resemblance there.
I'm sorry.
There's a strong family resemblance.
Oh, yes, just like her mother.
Well, that thing is sticking up a lot.
Yeah, the purpose of it is to cover the.
Do you know what I'm saying? To like let them, that's their baby.
Yeah, we tried this thing, we're just
Because somebody should. But
Like next to the fields.
I'm directly behind the Great Stone Wall. That going across the street, when they're still working on. So I'm trying to put that.
Oh, no, I don't hear. I'm glad we're getting. Jess, I think I have your wrong email address.
I'm just tired.
Can you write?
Hopefully mine will be next.
I got an email from you though.
Oh, you did? Oh, I don't have it. I just don't respond to your emails.
Wow. Right? I didn't know I was supposed to, sorry.
nice.
It makes me feel like very slow.
Oh, no, I didn't get that.
Oh, you didn't get that one? Good.
No. I was like,
Let me do it in person.
Less bad.
Needs a second.
no, I never got a call email. That's weird.
Do me a favor, you have my email, right?
I do.
Shoot me an email and I'll make sure I got your right info.
So-
Consider it.
No, and I did that. You know that will get fixed now. Like, at what cost? So,
Hey, Susan.
I was just telling him.
It's okay with me.
Let me start on my throat job.
Okay.
It's hard
We
to
just
say
heard
to stop.
testimony.
All right, everybody, if you could pull it together, we're gonna get going with the second case. We're on here all night.
Woo-hoo.
Not our monster, but it is theirs.
I'm sorry I cut you off earlier.
Well, I thought that's what it was.
All right, everybody, thank you. We're gonna move on to the next case. Mr. Taylor, if you could please call that case.
Yes, this is land use case Z 26-01-02. Tardif Hall at Shaker Village LLC is seeking variance relief from Enfield zoning ordinance, Article 4, Section 401.1, Paragraph K, to allow for 8 dwelling units where only 4 dwelling units are currently allowed. Property in question is located at 86 Chosen Vale Lane, tax map 10A, lot 75A8, and is owned by Tardif Hall at Shaker Village LLC. It is 1.01 acres in size and is within the R1 residential zoning districts. And this is Jay Boucher.
Jay Boucher, hi.
Hi, hopefully this is gonna be a lot more straightforward than the last one.
Let's see. Mr. Boucher, what I'd like to remind you is that we're going to review a variance request for this particular parcel. Our judgment will be based on the town zoning and a set of criteria for variances. Our judgment is not a reflection on you in any way. And any variance that is granted will be tied to the parcel, not to the current owner. And the responsibility falls on you to successfully argue that the variance should be granted for this parcel. Do you have any questions before we get going?
I don't think so. I
Okay,
brought some
that's-
handouts if you're interested.
Whatever you want to do, describe the situation, describe your request, and present your argument.
I'm gonna get you guys oriented too. I'll pull up our map again like I traditionally do. Let me just share it with
I think I have
the,
enough for everybody, but.
good folks online.
We did.
I mean,
Thank you.
So, New Hampshire, Route 4A, right here. This is the Great Stone Dwelling of the Shaker Museum, right here. Property in question is directly behind the
Is
Great
there more
Stone
than one
Dwelling,
of
known as Tardif Hall, right here. And you can
No,
see the
capacity.
lot is very unusual size in that it's bisected by Chosen Vale Lane. This is their
I
parking
don't
space.
know it.
This is the building, square footage, 18,000. Go ahead,
Just
Jay.
there, yeah.
Floor is yours.
Okay.
It's okay, I know it, I'm in the Grimspire there.
All right, let's focus on Mr. Boucher.
So the question is, why is Tardif Hall zoned res R1? I think, quite honestly, it looks like it might have been an oversight when the zoning originally went in, because all of Shaker Village is designated as R1, the Great Stone Dwelling. My office building, Tardif Hall, is 18,000 square feet, and it's not in really the residential part. It's what it's always been referred to for those of us that have been in Shaker Village for a while. I've been there since the 80s. We call it the Center Village, which is you know, the Great Stone Dwelling, the Mary Keene Chapel, my office building, the Laundry Dairy building, which is where Drummond Cycles are, and some of the other Shaker buildings, the Keene Medical building, which is across the road, and all of what La Salette used to be, which is now the Enfield Shaker Museum, is all resident R1 zoning too, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. So what happened with me was, we were commercial occupied, it was an office building forever, till COVID hit. And I lost all my tenants, and I couldn't replace them. So I'm sitting on an 18,000 square foot commercial building with no tenants. And so everybody kept telling me to put apartments in because there was a big need for it. So I went to Rob. Rob says, oh yeah, that's great, we're mixed use, we want more of that type of development in this town. So I put 4 apartments in, and I went high end, I did Shaker reproduction, changed the windows, so they true divided light to match the Shaker. I worked with the people at the museum because I wanted to really fit into the village there. And the apartments came out great. So, and I still had all this space left over that I didn't know what to do with. And so I came up with a brainstorm. Our office for Defiance Electric is in that building. It has been for a long time. So what we want to propose is to move Defiance Electric to the basement level, put them downstairs, and that leaves us with the first and second floor. What I'm proposing is to put 4 more apartments in the area that's left, and they would actually be 2-floor apartments. They'd be significantly bigger than the ones we have there, but it takes advantage of the space that we have. And the problem is, when I went to Rob, I said, hey, I said, just to prove that all the fools aren't dead yet, I'm going to put in 4 more apartments in my office building. He said, well, you're limited to 4. I go, well, why is that? Because you're only a 1 acre lot. You're only allowed 1 dwelling per quarter acre in the R1 zone.
Yeah.
An 18,000 square foot building.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I know you're gonna have to go for a variance because of that. So here I am, you know, and without really, you can see the Chosen Vale Lane kind of separates the whole center village from the residential village. If you look to the top right-hand corner of that map with Cable Dyer Lane, that's really that's North Village.
Yeah.
All of those houses are about 1,500 square feet of living space, and they're on a lot of 0.07 acres. You could put 12 of those buildings in my office buildings, of the living space, because like 18,000 square feet, and 12 of those lots at 0.07 acres is 0.84 acres.
So can you pause for a second? Rob, can you give us just a real brief history on how that happened, that cluster housing was approved?
So, yeah, Shaker Village actually predates zoning.
Yeah, that went back to the 80s.
In fact, the reason we have zoning is probably
Yes.
in response to several projects, including
It was.
Shaker Village and Lakeview Condos and a few
That
others.
map is, that's in.
Where on the map does the cluster zoning end and where does the R1 begin?
It's all activate the lab. It's all R1.
It's all R1.
But the cluster was just there before it became R1.
The cluster was there before we had cluster.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I will tell you, just to clarify a little bit of stuff for Jay, the provisions of our ordinance are R1. That's what we call it, is a 1 acre lot size minimum.
Okay.
But there is a sort of exception in the zoning ordinance for lots that have connection to municipal sewer, which this lot does. It is connected through the 4A pressurized
or whatever it was.
sewer main.
Yeah.
And so that, we have a sort of a density bonus for sewer connected
Right.
lots down to a 1/4 acre. And so he has, as he indicated, he's already used his 4 lots, or sort of 4 units from his a little bit over 1 acre lot. So that's where he's at. That's why we're kind of like, we kind of need to either go for a variance or we need to change the zoning as well.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, not many 18,000 square foot buildings and residential developments in the town, so it's kind of a white elephant in some respects, but,
That's what I was thinking.
you know, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard spot. I can't survive on half my apartment building empty. And it actually makes great living space too, because the village is a really unique spot, you know, and the apartments that I did make came out really nice, and people love them, and just trying to make it work.
Okay. Can you tell us about your efforts to rent it out commercially and why that failed?
It was, I lost a major tenant, Retail Control Systems, occupied half of the building. They had 50 people in there every day that were point of sale software. And then when COVID hit, they basically were all just doing support. They all went home and worked from home, and they never came back. And then they actually, when their lease was up in 2023, they told me in June of 2023 that they were gonna, move out when their lease was done in December.
Yeah.
Because they didn't need 8,900 square feet of real estate for the 4 people that were showing up every day, so they left. They gave me 6 months' notice, which was great. So I immediately went to McLaury Real Estate, listed the property for rent. I didn't get one person to look at it, not one, and that was not very comforting. So everybody I talked to, I'm friends with a lot of people from Dartmouth Hitchcock, and their big pain point is housing. They kept begging me to put housing in. So listen, there was a natural divider in the office building to take one end of that building and put four apartments in, which is what I did, and that's what I went to Rob. Nobody told me at the time, but that you can only put 4 in there. I had no idea that was the case.
Yeah.
And then when I found out that you couldn't, according to the existing zoning regulations, because I don't have a 1-acre lot, even though the building is 18,000 square feet, so I'm hoping that, I can, be allowed to basically move forward with this project, I think that's better for everybody than having a half-empty office building in the middle of that. It's not a sustainable business model either.
Yeah, I understand your point of view. Thank you. Questions from the board?
I don't have any questions, but so everybody knows, I've been making rooms at the Shaker Museum for the last 17 years, so I'm familiar with all of that, and what he wants to do makes good sense. There's plenty of parking, there's plenty of space, and it would be good for the town to have more apartments. So I was thinking, do I have to recuse myself? I don't think so.
No, just
No,
You don't work at
but
Target Hall, you work at
I'm over there all the time when the museum's open. And 4 more apartments wouldn't make any difference to the museum at all.
Okay.
I think it would be a good thing to do it.
Great, thank you. Before we get to any more points of view, does anybody on the board have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So housing in general is a problem in the Upper Valley, but affordable housing even more so. Would these units be affordable? Would they be branded as luxury?
They would be really, all my discussions with the Dartmouth Hitchcock people was based on what they were looking for, which is what I'm gearing my, because that's their biggest problem, getting help is, and maintaining that help is housing for them. And so they basically said, we want 2-bedroom, 2 bathrooms with higher end finishes in them, which is what I'm doing. And I also, like I said, I worked with the Shaker Museum to all the doors are Shaker style doors with thumb latch hardware. All the kitchen cabinets are Shaker style. Like changed all the windows with true divided light to kind of match the Greystone dwelling. So to be perfectly honest, they're not low-end housing by any means. I mean, I think that the setting in the village is more conducive to that type of, and the people that live there love it. I mean, it's just such a great place with, 1,200 acres of land, conservation land. You got the museum right there. One of my tenants actually is a basket weaver. Have you met Lori Fly?
Just briefly.
She actually works at the museum as a teaching basket making. So it's a perfect fit. I mean, it's unfortunate that,
So what would a 2-bed, 2-bath, 2-story apartment go for?
Right now, $2,900.
$2,900?
Yeah. Just to kind of put things in perspective, the new public safety building that we just finished in town is 15,000 square feet. My office building is 20% bigger than that.
Okay.
So,
Kyle, any other questions? No, that's right.
Just a
Jim,
side
anybody?
comment for you. The Great Stone Dwelling is the first building in New Hampshire that had doorknobs instead of latches.
Oh, yeah?
Question, Mr. Taylor.
I just wanted to point out, I've already explained this to him, if he is to get his variance, he would still need a revised site plan through planning. So that would be,
The
parking,
yeah.
landscaping,
Yes,
lighting.
there is
all that kind of stuff.
None of that changes.
Yeah, just an expansion, I mean, that's it.
I'm not, yeah, but I have all kinds of parking.
So approval on our behalf would then just kick it to the planning board
I
for,
just wanted to let you know. So
Okay.
any concerns that the neighborhood might have would be addressed
Yeah.
in that process.
Quite honestly, we addressed that in the first one, because I have the site plan here.
Yeah.
No entrances are gonna change, the parking is all the same.
Shelley or Bill,
I
anything?
just have a question. Is this a current picture?
Yes, fresh off of Google Earth.
If no more questions from the board, I'm gonna open it up to the public for comments. Dr. Buffet.
Dave Buffet, Maple Street. I think I'm generally very conservative when it comes to variances because the zoning is done for good reason usually. We're in the process of working through the changes in the zoning ordinance. I think the concern about not just affordable housing, but workforce housing and how that is developed when all the developers so far presenting to both this board and to the planning committee, planning board, are pushing for high-end apartments that don't address those issues as of concern. And the final question was, you said that this is already connected to the sewer
Oh, yeah.
and municipal water?
Yep.
I guess, is there any, I don't see any plans in the current zoning, and this is to Rob, that proposal that suggests that this might become part of a equivalent zone to the Enfield Village because it's part of, because it's connected to water and sewer.
So I concur with what Bill said earlier. We are not here tonight to talk about potential new zoning. We're here to talk about the zoning that's currently in front of us. I think they're great questions, but that's beyond our scope. So we're going to leave that to the side for now, but thank you.
Will these tenants have all the benefits of living there? Isn't there a beach
Well,
that everybody uses?
That's another bone of contention of mine, because I've been at Shaker Village throughout, we did their electrical work when they started that project, and we're still there. And all through that development, as it evolved, all the changes in the drawings all showed that the land on the beach is common land on every drawing, and I have all of them. But apparently, when the deeds were actually written, they weren't written into the deed that the beachfront was common to all of Lower Shaker Village. Contention was, if you live in Shaker Landing, you can go use North Village beaches and vice versa. But
There was a whole field there too.
not anymore.
There
There was a ball field there that was supposed to be there in perpetuity, but somehow when they went bankrupt in the 90s, some stuff went on that changed some things.
Yeah.
And so simple answer to your question is, no, we don't have access to the water.
Okay.
We have
Thank you.
access to everything else.
Thank you. I see that we have a question on Teams from Phil Bartels, or it could be Audrey.
They're gonna need to unmute themselves.
Phil or Audrey, could you unmute yourself and ask your question, please? Or make your
Sorry.
comment. That's all right.
This is Audrey at 239 Crystal Lake Road. I understand that the variance is tied to the property. And so a new owner, it would go to them as well. But, so this is just a clarification. Is the variance that these additional 4 units must be within the existing, large stone building? Or can there be an additional 4 units in that part of the property that's on the lake side of Chosen Vale Lane?
We're not applying for the Great Stone Dwelling.
Yeah, so just for clarity, it's not the stone building, it is a wooden structure behind
No,
the
it's not a
stone
wooden
building.
structure,
It
it's a
is,
bomb shelter.
it's a bomb shelter behind the
It's a
stone building.
steel frame with
Right, but her question's still a good one. You're asking for a variance to put 4 additional apartments into that bomb structure,
Yeah.
right? Okay. You're not asking for anywhere else on the
No,
property.
not at all.
So the
That's the only
variance,
part I
the
own.
variance, if it were granted, would be
Yeah, just
to
for the
put
entire
4
hall.
additional apartments into
Right.
that structure.
Right.
Yeah, and you're right, Audrey, it would stay with the property. And I can't, I won't go there. We're good.
Maybe it would be good to say to that lady, there will be no visible changes to any of the buildings. It's only going to be on the interior of that big gray building. It doesn't change the parking, it doesn't change the streets, it doesn't change anything. It's just gonna be inside that one building.
Exactly.
Audrey,
And
does that
so-
answer your question? Go ahead.
Well, just a question, 10 years from now, when you sell the building to somebody else, could they then say, oh, I'm going to change those 4 units and instead of having them in the building, I'm going to use my variance and build 4 additional units across the street?
No,
No, the
Great.
reason being, Audrey, the way he has applied for this variance and the way we will grant this variance, if we are to grant it, would be specific that it is 4 additional units inside that building.
I don't have the
Thank you.
footprint to do it.
Yeah,
Unless
you're
I
welcome.
went to the property.
Good question. Mr. Griffin,
It's maybe a little off.
what's your name, please, and where do you
Bill
live?
Griffin, Algonquin Road. This may be a little off subject, but have you ever considered 3-bedroom units for any of them?
Well, it's kind of on the cusp of whether or not, you know, my 2-bedroom units, first ones are only 900 square feet. And so these ones are gonna be, about 1,600 square feet.
Okay.
And, I'd rather have them a little bigger because the 900 square foot ones are tight. And the David Hitchcock, who I'm working with, really prefer, this is kind of more what they want, so. It's a thought, but I
I was
haven't
just
really.
thinking about that other building gets built, there won't be as many 3-bedrooms around,
What other building?
up on the hill.
Oh, I have nothing to do with that.
No, well, just, that would, 3-bedrooms.
He's an electrician, what does he know?
So am I. I think he's just doing it to get me going.
All right, any other comments from the public? Yes, Jason.
So
Name and where do you live?
Jason
please?
Carter, because my earlier comment was completely out of, I don't know where the heck I got that from. I forwarded you a document just so I have evidence of what I'm about to say. So the hardship criteria, there's a training document that was written up by some attorneys for Phillips or Portsmouth, Concord, and a few other places that list out that the hardship can't apply to the individual, it has to apply to the building. So unfortunately, the inability to rent out to tenants for a particular price, I don't believe that qualifies as a hardship for a variance. So that's my comment.
Thank you for your opinion, appreciate it. Okay. Yes, sir.
How does a building generate its own income? I mean, if you have to.
Okay, thank you. All right, seeing no other questions from the public, I'm going to close the public period. Anybody on the board have any additional questions or comments they'd like to make?
Just that, let's see, I'm sorry, I should have checked, see if somebody else is. I don't see that it's contrary to the public interest in any way. We know that we need housing. Again, I think the spirit of the ordinance is observed because we are actually not affecting the use or area in this particular case. And to that extent, I also say, one of our biggest criteria for the spirit is not overcrowding. I don't think this overcrowds in any way. I think that the connecting properties that they're pretty overcrowded.
Yeah.
But this doesn't change. Nothing here changes, is what I'm saying.
Actually, the density goes way down because when it was a commercial office building, RCS had 50 people a day in there.
Yeah.
Back
Yeah.
and forth every day.
So I think substantial justice is done in this, just in the brief conversation we had that I heard testimony that the place was unable to be rented at all for a period of time in its current designation for use. And my guess is the other 4 units that he has are all full. And that, I think that to be able to put your property to use is where substantial justice is done. and that's putting it to use. I can't see any way it would diminish surrounding properties, and again, we heard no testimony, the folks from the museum were not here to say, don't do this. I do think a literal enforcement here is the hardship, because while it isn't applicable to the individual, it is applicable to that building. And if I look at that building and I say that building can produce this much revenue or that much revenue, and can be of use or can be empty, putting it to use and having it create the revenue to me, does matter. And I say, so not being able to do that, I see as a hardship. The building has to be maintained, there are a number of other things. So there's no special thing about this land at all that makes me, and I just want to say the other piece here is that we don't see any environmental impact whatsoever with a project like this. And so it is kind of a preferred way of development. And I think that's what Dr. Beaufay was getting at, is that developing this way does not create the negative consequence.
Okay, thank you. Before we go any further, I apologize, I should have done this at the beginning. Seated for this particular meeting are Tim Lenahan, Susan Brown, Bill Finger, Dan Regan, and Tiffany Adams. If you could please record that. The alternates will not be participating from this point forward, and the five of us will be debating a bit.
Should we make a motion for discussion?
I thought we already had made a motion for discussion, but,
okay.
So it's open right now for board discussion, if I wasn't clear on that.
All right, that's good. I agree with all Tim's statements. I'd like to talk about the enforcement, the hardship enforcement rule. It's kind of tricky and has had some public comment on it. I think either A or B of the two split cases for case 5, I think both apply, because I don't see how the primary goal of the ordinance in this case is to reduce crowding in the R1 district, but we already have an existing building, so it's not like we're adding buildings to the area. So I don't think that by declining this variance we would be achieving the goal of the ordinance. And B, again, what about this property makes the variance appropriate? Well, it already has this large building that's just aching to be filled with tenants. So that's how I stand on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan or Tiffany.
Yes, I actually want to speak to the hardship issue, which I often have a hard time getting to hardship. And I actually, in this case, think this is a good case for hardship in that this building is existing in its current size, which is dissimilar from other surrounding properties, which are governed by the need for a certain land mass per number of living units. This building is dissimilar from all of them in its size, regardless of how it has been used and inability to continue to use it like that. The applicant would like to do something in this building that is governed similarly to smaller single-family homes that surround it, and I do think that is a good case for hardship within the zoning district.
Okay. Susan, anything to add?
No, I support him all the way down the line. I think it's a really good idea for him to make income and pay taxes.
Yeah, I too, thank you. I too support this. The only thing I wanted to address is Jessica's point, which I think is a really good one. We are looking for workforce housing. However, that's not our charge here tonight. But I do think actually I probably shouldn't go any further with my opinion, but workforce housing is important to this community and to the Upper Valley. We should be looking for ways to do that. So I did give my opinion. But I would like to make a motion that we pass the variance as submitted in land use case Z260102 Cardiff Hall at Shaker Village for the variance relief of Enfield zoning ordinance Article 4, Section 401-1, Paragraph K, and allow for 8 dwelling units in total, where there are only 4 units currently in the existing building. That's my motion.
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Told you it was gonna be a lot easier than that first one.
Yeah, we're nice. You wore us
Not
down.
on the water.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Happy to give you a tour anytime you wanna stop by.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
You should. I mean,
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
a bomb shelter. This thing was built by the Lassallettes in the late 50s as biology and science labs and locker rooms, because there used to be a preschool there.
Yeah.
And so the lower floor, it's all concrete walls and floors. It's a solid steel frame with bar joist construction. Each floor and this roof is a 4-inch reinforced concrete slab.
Wow.
The outside walls are 8 inches of block, 4 inches of brick, 1 inch of blue board, and clapboards. It was developers bought the place in the 80s. It had a flat roof and crank out windows. It did not look like it belonged in the Shaker Village. So the
Fantastic.
developers,
I thought it was a clattered building.
no.
The Los Angeles
No,
built
it's
that, huh?
bulletproof.
I know where I'm going with
zombie apocalypse.
Literally is a bomb
Hang
shelter.
on, we got a couple more things.
You wanna use it
I'm
as
sorry
a-
if I insulted you when I called it wood.
No insult taken.
Can
Thank
we
you very
use it
much.
as a bomb shelter?
Board, we're not finished yet.
Oh, yeah, we got just a few more matters of,
All right, so first thing we're gonna do is gonna do approval of minutes from November 10th. Does anybody have any changes they want to put forward?
I moved to approve the minutes. I couldn't find anything to correct.
that's amazing.
So we have a motion. Anybody, any changes?
Second.
A second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Minutes pass unanimously. The rules of procedure, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, other than one comment I want to make. So we reviewed the rules of procedure just, I think, 4 or 5 months ago. We finally got them signed off, and we spent a lot of time and a lot of energy on it. I thought we did a really good job. Having said that, however, a board member did bring to my attention the fact that it looks like we could improve in reaching out to the Conservation Commission and the Heritage Commission. And I don't disagree with that. So here's what I'm going to propose is 2 things. One, we not change these rules of procedure now. We wait until after the election and we have a new board seated. And that new board will elect a chair and a vice chair. And he or she, the chair, can decide how they want to move forward with the rules of procedure. My recommendation will be to them to take a look at how we call out the Conservation Commission and the Heritage Commission. I think they're both valuable groups. Number one, so that's what we're gonna do. But between now and that time after the election, I think we should be doing a better job, and I want to talk to Rob about this, and my commitment is I will talk to Rob about this, that every time that we get a case, and sooner than 5 days when the packets go out, we should be informing the Conservation Commission and the Heritage Commission that we have a case, and do they want to weigh in on it, either positive, negative, or not at all.
They used to, when Carol Lee was here, she would shoot off a copy to the Conservation Commission.
Yeah.
And their instructions were to go over the app, think, they want to, they go check it out and see if there's any environmental issues or whatever, and then write a letter to the ZBA.
Yeah.
But what's not in there is the writing letter to the ZBA.
So let's ask Rob right now. So Rob, we're just talking about Conservation Commission and Heritage Committee. It appears to me that we might be able to do a better job at getting input from them.
Okay.
Can you tell me what we do now, and do we give them a packet every month, or do we give them the cases when they come in to look at? And are we requesting that they give us any input?
They're getting, I mean, obviously they can look at all the stuff that's posted. We have to post all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
publicly, so it's,
They don't get it.
so, I mean,
So, yeah, some of the responsibility falls on them as well.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, how do we do as much as we can on our end? And it might go beyond posting, so can you and I get together and brainstorm maybe this
Well,
week?
Why can't you throw it back to the town clerk?
Maybe we could.
Because that's,
I don't know.
that's what's written in the zoning ordinance.
the town clerk's supposed to be notified?
Yeah, she was supposed to be notifying, sending the packet to the Conservation Commission.
Dan,
That's what she would do.
I was gonna, right while we're on this subject, I was gonna say that, I think when we have a case like we did tonight, where there are potential impacts on, to conservation, for example, with environmental impact, that perhaps our decision should go to them and say, you know, this is, the board has ruled, you know, this came in and this was the issue, and the board either granted or denied, because it does, maybe that invites their input. If we give them, like, look, we just decided this issue, and I you know, there's 2-3 a year where I think, I could honestly say, they might really be interested in reading that.
Yeah, I think that's a real good idea, telling them what our decision was, but in addition to that, I love the idea of giving them as much
Front-loading it,
advance notice as possible. Here's what we've got in front of us, and if you have thoughts, let us know.
Are there ever situations where, say, conservation is notified ahead of time, they discuss, they make recommendations advisory to the zoning board?
It was last year with one of the Laramie Farms ones, it was that's right in that ordinance for specific things like crossings of wetlands. That was, they were notified, and they actually went on a site visit and all that kind of stuff. So some of the stuff is baked right in the case, but of course the problem is they meet once a month. You guys meet once a month, so you guys can conceivably, you could have an application come in and you guys hear the case before they meet. That's the problem, so.
So let's, I don't want to go on too long here tonight, but let's talk about that. Even in that situation, I think it may be worth a phone call to the chair of the Conservation Commission to say, hey, we've got this issue, you guys aren't gonna meet. It's an important case, can I send it over to you? And then he or she can maybe call a special meeting or something of the Conservation.
The chair was here tonight, you saw her right there.
Yeah, it's Shirley.
Yeah.
Shirley's the chair.
So, okay, let's take that offline, all right? And so my commitment is to follow up. I think it's a really good recommendation, and we'll see if we can improve there, all right? Good, any other?
Did we do findings of fact on this last case?
I did.
That is not going forward.
We need to do,
I
I
think
think
it's
we
when
need
we-
to do findings of fact on every case. And
Those are completely
Tim did it for
For
the
the
first
denial.
case.
They're just doing,
Yeah, but it's still.
So I've always asked Bill to do that. Do we need to do it right now, Susan, or can he do it?
I think we're required to do it, I don't know when, but it has
Okay.
to go with the case and be in the minutes.
Okay,
It's not enough to discuss the issues, because I think we discussed them verbally.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
of the
but we
five
have to have
criteria.
them written
It's,
in the minutes.
it's really more vital when it's a denial,
Yeah.
because you know,
But,
there
wasn't
goes facts.
it
Isn't it more important during
last year,
a pass? Because
last
then we're
year,
saying
before
that
Dan was
Nobody's
chair,
gonna
it
appeal
came
that.
up that we had to
Well,
do
butter
findings
might.
of facts for each case.
yeah, we do have to do findings of facts for each case. I would be comfortable asking Mr. Finger to send me findings of facts. If there's anything controversial, I could send them out, or if you'd like to sit here and do it right now, we could do
Yeah,
that.
I don't think there's much to do, and however it gets done is fine, just that we always do what we're required to do,
Absolutely.
because if we get hauled
I-
into court, we'll be in
I'm
trouble.
gonna give Bill one to remember, which is that the building,
It's a bombshell.
well, that it had been attempted to be rented and was unable to be rented in its current state.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think that's
That's all you have to
Okay.
say.
a pretty basic one that.
I'll write that up. this
Thank you
week
very
and
much.
get it to you.
But I'm afraid we have to do those things even when they don't really.
Yeah, we want to follow all the rules.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We're out.
So tell me.
So the planning board is proposing 3 new zoning districts.
I know that.
That's the meat of the
I'll give you votes or an email.
The zoning,
I'm running for the election. I want
there
everybody
are a
to
lot
know.
of changes in that.
No, I'm not
No
voting for any of the
changes
other
to R1,
incumbents. Not one of them.
I don't know who they are.
Commercial,
Oh, is this one?
industrial,
Yeah, I'm the only one that's.
conservation.
Oh, are you? No, I'm not
Those are all
voting for either Tracy or,
However,
or
if it gets voted in,
Alice.
won't all those things in the R5 and all
Oh.
that stuff,
Nope,
like what
either
we're
one.
talking about, get approved?
No changes
It's gonna be a-
proposed for R1, R3, R5.
Expensive
They're all
year
gonna be
for
exactly
everybody.
the same as they are now. So the changes are for
$2,900 a month for
downtown.
over there.
They're proposing 3 new zoning districts, basically in the downtown, really where sewer and
Has to
water.
be clarified.
Come to the hearing, there's a hearing a week from tomorrow night.
Shelley, when I sent out an email to everybody, it had a link to the town website that outlines them all. And then Rob is right, on the 21st, there'll be a meeting with Jim Jennings and Mark through it all. He does a wonderful job. I went to the last one that he did. He does a really, you might not agree with it, but he does a really good job of laying out what they're proposing.
Dan, can I?
When you post the zoning ordinance,
Yeah.
you have a, you know,
What they're basically trying to
it's gonna,
rebrand as
I
EBD.
just asked them, if it passes, all the stuff that they did in the end of it, that they have Upper Valley Regional Planning Commission,
Yeah.
there's a lot of changes in there.
Yeah.
And I was worried that that would all go in effect
Right on,
if the
right on
town
the highway,
approved
you're
it.
not gonna create any problems.
That's to
like,
me is
Go for
what's
that,
how
that's just
all
fine
is.
out there.
Yeah,
And they're
so
gonna
when the
have
town
to
approves it, the proposed changes will go into effect.
And there's enough
But Rob
space
said
that
it's
everybody can
3
have a
sections.
3-acre lot, you know.
What they call
Not everybody's an acre.
CBD, CB, this
They're
freedom
talking about
CBs, which is all around downtown and then.
Right, I understand, I know all that,
Yeah.
I know that,
Exit 15.
but I'm talking about
It's-
the rest of the
Yeah,
zoning ones,
so-
you're changing.
so they were looking at that and
They've got
that
it
to be
posted.
that kind of
Yeah.
development.
So if it passes, all that is gonna be enforced.
There's still not parking.
Yes, you're right, because it's all one thing, it's all one warrant.
Where did this come from? Can I have it?
Everything you can have, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think he's probably
Well,
on the
that's
board.
what
for
I
those
don't
guys.
It
agree
was
with.
sitting
Yeah.
there.
If you just want the
Here it is.
the districts that are created, that's all that should go to the posted.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Not the whole thing.
yeah.
Can I have this?
Absolutely, yeah. So I think it's the 21st, is the meeting.
I've been through this a lot.
Yeah, it's the 21st at 6:30.
That's what I mean, you can get a lot of money for that.
Because I worry, because I'm not, it's just
You know what I
like
hate to
the
tell them is that we.
CBA thing.
Yeah.
That got changed, I don't know who did it, but it will pass. Zoning
Yes,
passes.
so we did that. They asked us for any changes that we were.
It's a house, and you get full use of the
This
40
group
acres.
got
That's
together
our job.
and we debated.
Right, I wasn't
talked about-
talking about prestige,
No, but I, you,
Neighbors are gonna show up.
but I don't remember anything
our
about
job
the
is to leave
conservation,
you
I wouldn't have been
but
there.
it is,
So,
Conservation is
but if somebody came and said, hey, I'm in the
just that we're not doing what we should be doing.
like a criteria.
Then my lot's bigger than most
There
of
is
these.
something
But I'm-
about where I can say,
Again, if it gets voted on in
So
March,
that's kind of where the
it's changed to the way they, the way it looks.
I didn't see that section.
crisis is
That was the week about.
COVID was there, exactly, COVID was a crisis.
Background
So-
on that recently got built in there, and I found that there was a special exception granted for ground floor residential and a variance for setbacks.
That's exactly what. So when I see it, I know what it is, 'cause I'm like,
I don't know it's right there, right down on the left of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought the
that one's a
first
lot.
case,
But they never-
did a good job.
She wanted-
They
They
never
never
did
did that
everything and said.
They never did a special exception, which I
I
thought
think the
was,
5
it
creeks.
wasn't recorded easier,
just
that
have
they
to
did
go
it
in
that,
and
which I
allow
thought was
you
weird,
to-
that, but now that you pointed out, like it's there, so.
no, that's only for warrant articles.
You know, it's
No.
bad.
It's time to stay home.
Say no, we can't.
What's his face, Bale? Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you.
Where do you work? I don't right now.
Take care of the rest of myself.
And I refuse.
Looking at,
All right.
after that, maybe we're trying to build a farm.
Every property on Google Maps.
How old is he?
I'll have some decisions set for you. Decisions to sign? Yep. Actually, probably the first one I have to get Bill to sign.
No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you do. Make him do it with, like a quill.
Feather.
Really nice calligraphy.
Right, 'cause that's like
you know,
next week.
has-
Rob, thanks for all the work.
I'm gonna say
this.
I used to be a software engineer though. That's my thing.
Yeah.
See ya. I just haven't gotten it today. Crystal Lake, no, voice handling. Coding, is that your?
I mean, so I used to be an architect at the peak type stuff. Yeah, I've done it all. Anything related to online.
Awesome. So what is the language there?
SQL, Postgres, JavaScript, Java, C++, C#. That's my
You have a
thing.
degree, is that your degree?
Yep. Yep.
Where'd you go to school?
RIT.
Awesome.
And then I actually went back for, I went 2 years. I went to UNH for grad school. And I was looking for something different. I was like, I basically hit like a point where it was like, there's no more growth. Like, I need something new. And so I did 2 years trying to get into doing either a PhD or a master's for artificial intelligence. And I did all the classes. I had a 4.0 GPA. And I was like, no.
Change my mind. Get me out
Well,
of here.
I went and shopped around. I got an offer from Amazon to work for them, for the robotics people. And I was like, this is the same thing I've been doing. Like, I don't want to do this. This is what I'm trying to get out of it. So I was like, I'm not going to keep going. So then after that, I worked for a startup. I tried to start a startup. Nobody wanted the product, so that died. And then, now I'm here.
I got a cool story for this. So a really good friend of mine, Meriden, started this little company in Lebanon in about 2014. He's Whitmanville, you know where that is? It's
No.
on Water Street, just down from like Central Supply.
Yes. Yeah.
It's called Appcast. So it's funny because he started in this one kind of realm. He was going down this avenue and kind of stumbled on this other idea and sort of took him in a totally different direction.
Yeah.
But
What do
what
they
it
do?
was, it's job search.
That's his product?
So and it's funny because all of his software development was done overseas.
Okay.
He started in Ukraine
Yeah.
until they got invaded by the Russians the first time.
Right.
It was the Crimea they went into.
Yeah.
So he had to go over there and move his guys, software guys, into Belarus.
Okay.
But it's funny, over there, they teach coding in kindergarten. They
Yeah.
start kids early, and that's like a core function of all their education system to teach coding.
It's interesting because I bet, have a much better handle on, because there's a problem right now with AI, where junior engineers, basically the AI can do most of what they can do, not
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And it's okay, well, how do they learn to become more advanced? I bet they have a solution.
I bet they do.
Yeah.
It's interesting, so Bill Finger, the guy that was vice chair, that was acting chair for the first hearing, he works at Creari,
I don't know.
which you should check that out, you should talk to him.
Yeah.
That's a really cool company. So they're sort of I'm gonna call them, it's an engineering firm.
Oh, like an outsourced type.
So what they do is they work a lot of government contracts. They sort of have a skunk works up there. They sort of build and design prototype stuff.
Okay.
They've done US Navy, they've switched over a lot of their catapults off the aircraft carriers from steam to electromagnetic.
Yeah.
So it's much more reliable and easier to maintain and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they did a lot of that engineering up here. And they're really big in a lot of their technology is actually in space. They have some of the rover technology on Mars they developed there. They have mass spectrometers on those rovers to be able to suck up a little sample of Martian soil and run it through a test to see what kind of minerals are in it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit they're doing up there. Really cool stuff.
That's cool.
He was telling me he's working on his engineering project right now. He's working for military. It's a microphone that doesn't get essentially blown up by loud sounds.
Okay.
Typical traditional microphone technology is, remember the meters on a mixing board, So, if it went all the way out here, it was peaking out,
Right, to blow out the receptor.
Yeah, and so he's come up with technology that's literally for the military, because, in loud environments, gunfire, or whatever, they want the microphones to still actually work like they're supposed to.
Right.
And so their technology is this microphone that does not get basically blown up by loud sounds.
That's interesting.
And so he's working on that, but he's doing a lot of, there's doing some programming and software and all that kind.
But he's primarily electrical engineer, is that his background?
I think that's what his, yeah. It's kind of cool. They do a lot of stuff with the National Science Foundation for safety.
Yeah.
Like they've done a lot of work on, the earplugs you put in,
the
little
foam
foam ones.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out like 90% of the people that use those little foam ones don't get them in the ear properly.
Okay.
So the advertised noise reduction that those things are purported to give you is not what you're actually getting.
Right.
So they're trying to change that technology to get you better hearing protection, just all kinds of cool stuff going on out there. It's a really neat firm.
How big of a company?
Ooh, I bet they have 300-400 employees up there. It's pretty massive. Creari. It's kind of cool because Valley News published it years ago. They published like a family tree, and it was Dartmouth Thayer School, which is their engineering school, as the parent of a family tree, and they could trace all these companies that sort of came out of Thayer School.
Yep.
The biggest one is Hypertherm.
Okay.
That technology of plasma was developed at Dartmouth Thayer School. He was a professor and his student, grad student, named Dick Couch, he's one of the wealthiest guys in the Upper Valley, because he started Hypertherm, and as you know, that company is internationally acclaimed as they figured out, basically the plasma is like pure energy. It's hotter than the surface of the sun. So they can give you this machine that basically gives you, they call it a torch. But it can just like literally cut through steel, like a hot knife through butter.
Right.
And so they've got them on, CNC tables to cut steel. And they've got them now that can cut through battleship, metal, steel plating that's like 10 inches thick, and it just right through it like nothing.
That's crazy.
But those things, if you know anything about welding and
I've dabbled.
Everybody has those. You can get a suitcase size one for $1,000. That'll cut through, 1/4 inch steel.
That's nuts.
Effortlessly. It's like a ballpoint pen. It's crazy.
The craziest thing to me about that is the fact that you can generate that off of a reasonable amount of power. Like, I don't know if it's 220 volts or whatever.
The little version just plugs into standard outlet. 110. Isn't that crazy?
It must be such a tight beam.
And the genius is the equipment. I told you can buy one that'll cut 1/4 inch steel. It's a little suitcase for about $1,000. And where they make their money, it's like Gillette. There's consumable. They call them tips. So you have to thread on a new tip every 2-3 hours of cutting, and so they may sell you the $1,000 machine, but over the life of the machine, they'll sell you $20,000 worth of torch tips. But they ship that stuff all over the world, and their biggest problem is piracy. The Chinese are trying to reverse engineer and basically make knockoff tips that you can go and buy. Aftermarket stuff.
Which they'll do eventually.
They will do. They have done it. I mean, I think that's a fight that they just continuously have. But the Chinese are one of their best customers because they're manufacturing stuff. I know the Koreans, the shipbuilding in Korea is like the biggest industry in the whole world, and that's their thing. And so they've got these massive machines that just can cut. And it's kind of cool. They've gone out and they've added over the last 20 years, they've added other companies that they bought.
Okay.
And cutting is their thing. So they have some companies that make water jet, where they mix in a little bit of sand.
Okay.
So as the jet comes out at super high pressure, it's got sand in it, so it's abrasive, so it can cut. They have air cutters that just use high pressure air that can cut food. It's really cool stuff. But
and then they go from that to the microphone.
So no, I'm talking about.
Oh, you're talking about
Hypertherm, but these guys,
Gotcha.
Talk to Bill sometime. They're hiring all the time. That'd be a cool place to work. It's really cool. I've been in there a little, like I said, I call it Skunk Works because that's a hype, was it Lockheed Martin?
Oh, no, everybody, that's an
Famous.
industry term now.
Yeah, yeah.
I used to work
Kind of a
for,
design shop, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, for building prototypes and
yeah,
kind of monkeying around with some cool stuff.
right. Anytime when you're trying to do something, they call it greenfield in software.
Yeah.
You're doing something greenfield where you have to work a lot of long hours, doing something really weird, you just call it Skunk Works.
Yeah. But he's talking to me, there's some program and stuff that they're doing, and he's saying today, it's like, I was having a terrible time, and I couldn't figure this out, and he used AI to help him.
Yeah.
AI, he said I said, was it some kind of proprietary stuff that you guys had access to?
No,
He was like, no,
it's all
Gemini,
out there, yeah.
Gemini, that's Google's, yeah, just cool.
Yeah. I made a, so I'm retraining to electrical engineering event.
Wait a second, I gotta just see if I forgot to stop the recording.
Oh.
I did. I'll have to trim it. Sorry about that.
That's no problem. We didn't